There we go. So it's difficult to tell right out of the tube whether it leans more towards brown or more towards blue. I think that's leaning more towards my burnt sienna. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue to it, and then I'm going to test it. And the way I'm going to test it is I'm going to mix a tiny little bit of white with a sample of this, and that will give me an idea of how neutral this is. All right, so I'm going to take a little touch of that down here. I'm going to scoop up a little bit of white. Get a little bit more. All right, so I feel like that's pretty close, but I think it's still leaning a little bit towards my burnt sienna. So I'm going to go back with a little more blue. Okay, and test that, and it should be. So I feel like that is sort of right in the middle. Like I feel like that's pretty gray. So I'm going to take this pile and I'm going to put it right up here. That's going to be my middle. Then when I go over towards, I've got to mix 3 here. So I'm going to take a little bit of this and I'm going to add a little bit of my burnt sienna. So what I want is I want to be able to see a difference between each one without being a massive difference. So I'm going to go there. Then I'm going to get a little bit more of my original. This time I'm going to add a little more burnt sienna to it. So even in this pure mixed state, I can see a difference between these 3. Then my last one, I'm going to go with a little bit of that middle value, and I'm going to add even more burnt sienna to it. So this is going to be the closest to my original burnt sienna out of the tube. That goes there. Put a little more burnt sienna down. I might add, now that's a pretty big shift right there, so I might go take this back here and mix a little more, because I want it to be close to that pure color without being the pure color, okay? So then I would do the same thing going towards the blue, start with a fair amount of my original mix, add a little bit of blue to it, and for my next one, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to add more blue. And then my last one is going to be mostly blue with just a touch of my middle color. Now from each of these, so those right there are going to form the top row, okay? So as you look at this value chart or color chart, each row should be the same value as you add your white to each color, right? So the value shift is consistent. going all the way down to the lightest light. Now you're only going to have 7, not 9, going from light to dark, okay? Your lightest light is not pure white. Your lightest light is the lightest value you can achieve that still has a little bit of color, okay? Does that make sense?